Welcome fellow firearms enthusiasts, welcome back to the Tommy Gun channel, where we are going to build AR-15s and put them online. What we're going to do today is I have already shot some video. These videos will be all posted in series. They will not be done as I do them, so there'll be no correlation to when exactly they were done. They'll just be posted, and when they're posted, they'll be posted. What we're going to right now is the Nutcracker from Palmetto State Armory in West Columbia, South Carolina. I believe you can see it right there. Well, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish this lower. As you can see, I've already painted it. There is some video on here about how this is done. I will not, go through this over and over again. There are other videos out there show you how to do this. If this is what you want to do, it's not for everybody. Done it on both sides. The Nutcracker is unique. It has a unique serial number that says Christmas on it. And as you can see, the firing selectors are a Christmas tree, a snowflake, and an angel. And if we flip it around here to the other side, anyone who knows an AR-15 will readily recognize that the Christmas tree is safe. The snowflake is single fire. The angel is let her rip. So, we don't think we'll ever be going to the angel mode. Of course, that's what you want to do. That's up to you. Anyway, this is a strip lower, as I said, from Palmetto State Armory. Completely stripped. And I have painted it, as I said. And as you can see, this gun will be for sale. I haven't decided yet where I'm going to post it at, but I will have it for sale. And I don't know why the focus is not focusing. Ta-da! Let's see if we can get her to focus here. There we go. As you can see, it says Christmas 0136. Look, hey, that one thing helps if I turn it straight. It's hard to hold these things up to the camera. My camera is fixed, and as you can see, there's the serial number. It's actually Christmas 0136 is the actual serial number for this particular weapon, this particular lower. Anyway, what I'm going to do is we're going to finish this lower, and I have all the parts laid out here. Let me zoom back. And as you can see, I've got some of the parts here already laid out. Here's your magazine ejector rod. Painted that. These are from Battle Arms Development. That's this company right here. That is who created that. The magazine release. some BAD also. I painted that. And the BAD firing selector, which you can see is quite massive. And there's no mistaking what position that baby's in, as you can see. So, we'll also be installing the some titanium takedown pins. Don't know how many guns you run across is going to have titanium takedown pins, but this one is. And then we're going to go to a company called ARMASPEC, who is going to provide us with the other side of the magazine release, which is extended magazine release, quite extended, as you can see. Very nice, ARMASPEC. We'll be putting that installed. Also, we'll be installing an awesome trigger. You will not, this is an awesome trigger, not a cheap one. This is the ATC Gold high reset, fast reset, 3.5 pound straight tactical puller. She will get it. If anybody is familiar with shooting a Remington 700, you will get the exact same feel from this trigger. Trust me. That's the trigger going in. We'll be installing a new, as you can see, there's no trigger guard. This is a Palmetto State Armory skeletonized trigger guard. We'll be installing that. Really cool. It's nitrite covered. Paint will not even stick to this. It's so slick. Paint won't even stick to it. We'll be installing that. If you're going to be building an AR-15, you need as many of these as you can afford to own. The AR-15 lower pin and spring kits. You need one for every gun and then some. Because if you lose one of these little tiny pins or springs, it drops on the floor, don't even look for it. You will just get a headache looking for it. Trust me. So keep lots of these on on supply. We'll also be putting in, of course, the buffer tube. This is your standard mil-spec buffer tube. Nice and heavy duty. And with the standard buffer spring and the standard carbine buffer. And instead of the single point end plate, the cover end plate, we're going to use a double sling point end plate. All my guns will have double end point sling plate. I don't know why every gun doesn't come with these on them. Every AR should come with these on them. Standard from every manufacturer. They should have this on there. This should be the end plate for every carbine AR-15, and maybe even some of the long stock guns. The long stock is a little different on it than the AR-15 carbine. The end plate's different because the way the stock works on a full-size stock versus the carbine. So yeah, but every AR have these on them. This ought to have every one of them, and my guns will have every one of them on there. So what we're going to do is we're going to start out with this particular gun. You have to start, since everything fits together. Oh, the other thing I forget to mention is we're putting in the Luth AR chubby pistol grip. This thing is a beast, and I thought it would go well with this particular gun, but if you can't control this gun one-handed with this grip, you got a problem. You got a limp wrist, because this is the thing if you're going to do one-handed shooting. And since these guns have short barrels on them, you could practically use them as a pistol if you got the stronger wrist. But yeah, we'll be installing this also. that will be part of the installation. So what we're going to probably do first here now when we get started is we're probably going to install the things that need to go in first on the AR, because everything is so interconnected. Like you can't put in the firing selector without putting in the handle, attaching the handle, because the handle secures the spring and the pin that locks the position. That comes in right here. There's a little hole, I don't know if you can see it, right there. You can see the light go through it when I turn it a certain way, but yeah, there's a little hole right here, and that's where the spring goes for your firing selector. The detent pin and the spring, it goes in there. So a lot of this gun has to go together, like, you know, your takedown, rear takedown pin. That has a little spring right there. Right there. A little spring and detent pin that goes right in there. So you have to put that on to get that pin in. So there's a lot of things that have to go together kind of like all at once to make these things work. A lot of people, that's what some people complain about, that, you know, there's too many moving parts in this thing compared to other weapons out there, but doesn't seem to decrease the popularity of it any at all. And as you can see, I'm now in the process of building 3 of them. I have 2 more guns coming. I have another one that's a stealth gun. I'll just preview that one real quick. This is another Palmetto Armory. They call it Stealth. It has a cannon on the front, the Palmetto Armory State logo, and it's just basically, they say, a PA 15 multi-caliber, which means, you know, this stifles the argument about the 223 5.56. If it says multi on it, guess what? It don't matter. Because when you look at the 5.56 specs versus the 223, I don't know what they're talking about, because I trained people in the military, and I gave everybody, trained them on the M16, the actual M16A1, and we fired both 223 and 5.56. In fact, I even had a kid come there with one of the first civilian AR-15s I'd ever seen or held. He's a ROTC student, shows up with one. His daddy bought him one. It's a standard AR-15. Guess what he shot through it? It didn't say 5.56 on it, it said 223. We fired military 5.56 NATO through that gun. Hello? So I don't know where all this controversy is. People keep talking about, there is a difference, man, and it makes a difference. Well, no, it doesn't. So it's all BS. When I looked at the specifications and I saw the minute differences of what they really were, they're not enough to make any difference on the function of the gun. They will not stop the gun from functioning. Accuracy, maybe tiny, a little bit. If you're shooting national match at 1,000 yards, you might have a accuracy problem between the 223 and the 5.56 if it's chambered specifically for one of those count for either that, because the 5.56 does have a longer bullet relief on it. 25 thousandths longer, boys and girls. Now let me explain something to you. Get your micrometers out of your little measuring sticks and measure 25 thousandths and measure 50 thousandths, and then look what the difference is in that in real, I mean, oh boy. Yeah, people just have to quibble about things because they can. Anyway, let's get back to the stuff. This is the PA 15 multi. They call it the Stealth. Model number is 1770 something. I forget what it is. 1771 or something like that. This also had the extended. I put the extended on here already. You can see the extended trigger guard. Because normally these trigger guards, you just you push them in and they flip out, But with these extended trigger guards, they're set in there solid. There's no little pin to push and swing them open like the standard military ones. But that's the next gun. And then I'm building the Trump MAGA gun, which is coming, and I will do more on that later. But anyway, let's get started. So one of the first things I probably want to do, because it's the easiest to do and I really don't have to have anything else in there, but you do have to have it in there to get started, and that's the trigger. Go ahead and install this trigger. We have our, like I said, we're using the ARMASPEC anti-walk pins. These are stainless steel. They're very nice. It comes with 2 Allen wrenches. And what anti-walk pins are anti-walk pins have a screw on each side of them that screws them in place and locks them where they do not walk in or out, like some pins will. Especially with these drop-in triggers, they recommend that you use anti-walk pins with them. Now, ATC comes with its own pins that lock into their particular thing, but I will not be using them. I'm going to go ahead and use the anti-walk pins just because I do. That's what I do. I use them for everything. So we're going to get our anti-walk pins out here and get them ready to go. If I can get my hands under here. Here we go. Whoop, wow. Gave me lots of paper. I love it when they throw in extra paper. Yep, that's what they did. They put in 2 pieces of paper behind those pins. Anyway, here they are. Here's your anti-walk pins. Now, some of the anti-walk pins I have bought come with the little stabbers with them. So what I'm going to first do here is I'm going to see how these things clear, what their clearances are. And yeah, see, they're giving me trouble because they have a little bit, I don't know if I can show you, but there's a little bitty lip in here, in that tube where the anti-walk pin goes in. And some of the kits I have come with little stabbers on that lets you, little cones on, I should say, that let you get over that pin, because otherwise you have to force it through there. And I really don't like doing that. But anyway, here goes the trigger. Trigger just drops right in. This is the beauty of the drop-in trigger. The other trigger on an AR-15, you don't have to show anybody. I think you look it up. It's like 6 different pieces. Well, how about all in one? Highly accurate, high reset, very quick reset on this apparently. So what you do is you just drop her right on in place. Make sure all your little pins are lined up right. And generally what I do is I'll put one on one end, come back the other way with them. Well, this is not going to give me no, that's not going to help me. I have to go in from this end. Got to make sure your holes are lined up properly. So I'm getting out of the camera here. Get your little holes all lined up. Man, them pins are tight on this baby. Let me try to get the main trigger hole lined up first. And for this purpose, we're going to have our little handy dandy. Whoops! Always, everybody needs the rubber mallet. Make sure I got my holes lined up here right. Pretty close. Pretty close. Come on, baby. I'm having a problem with that lip right there, as I said before. Man, them are tight. Them pins wouldn't walk on you if you tried to make them walk. You couldn't make them walk because they're going in this frame really tight. Not much clearance at all. Come on. There we go. There we go. And you just tap them like that and it overcomes that spring. That little lip in there. And then you have your little piece in here that you put in. Whoops. Help if you get your Allen wrench out. Comes with, like I said, with a little Allen wrench with it to make sure it fits. It helps to use those. Use the tools that come with it, I say. Because you're not going to be putting anything on here much tighter than what you can put on with one of these anyway. You know what I mean? You're not going to be over torquing these puppies. You'll bend that thing around before you do that. Take the next one. Get your holes all lined up. Where's my hammer? Oh, there we go. There we go. We've got a preset. Use your little tools here to. That's what I like about the ones with the little cones on them. They line everything up as it goes through, and there you go. See how it popped right in there? If you get them going. Now, like I just said, these drop-in triggers, you have to put these in first, because if you put your firing selector in before you put this trigger in, you're not going to put it in. Not going to work. So, trigger first, right off the get-go. That's the first thing I install. Now, that's for the drop-in triggers, obviously. The triggers that are in pieces, that's a little more of a deal, because you put those in pieces, and then you put in your firing selector, and you put in your little pieces, and then you put in your other little pieces. I mean, it's just, no, we don't do that anymore. And that's just about how tight it needs to be. Just, you know, kind of gimme tight. You know, you're bending the tool, it's plenty tight. Some boys put Loctite on them. I don't think it needs Loctite. Just something you have to fidget with later on and get it undone. So now we have the trigger installed, okay? So what we're going to do next now is we're going to install the trigger guard. And for that, we're going to use an item that I bought years ago, or about a year ago. And this allows you to do work on your gun in a bench mode. And especially if you're going to be driving pins in, like I'm fixing to drive in with this puppy. This is a tool from a company called Real Avid. I don't know if you can see that. Did I do that? There we go. There we go. Real Avid. See it lighting up there? It's called a AR bench block. It has different positions for everything that I'm going to use for now. One particular function it will not do, because this is a custom AR and it's not a standard, so it has different things about it. But anyway, we're going to install now the Palmetto State Armory Custom. Let me get this turned here where you can see. Y'all can see it. A custom. Zoom in here. Should have been zoomed in a while ago. Oops. There. This is a custom trigger guard, which is going to fit right in him, like so. That's what's going to go in there. That's my Palmetto State Custom Trigger Guard. Now, what came with that? The guard came with some parts, like so, which is some pins and its own This thing uses something in the business called a roll pin. And the roll pins, as you can see, are hollow and they're split. Some people call them split pins, some people call them roll pins, some people call them compression pins, people call them different things. But suffice it to say, you really do need special tools to put these pins in. Trying to hammer them in with a normal pin tool will destroy them. Will mess up your gun, will mess up your whole project. So what you need is a tool like this. It's called a roll pin punch tool. It has a hollow end like this, as you can see. Set your pin in there and get it started. If you don't succeed at first, go read the damn instructions. Anyway, what I have to do here with this trigger guard is we have to install the front piece first, which is right here. That's this piece right here, up in the front. This piece right here. That has to go in first. And that is threaded all the way through the item. And it's got a little Allen wrench that goes with it. That come with it. Put that in there. And get that started, and it screws right into the trigger guard itself is threaded. So the front screw, the front attachment is threaded. So you just use the little threaded tool that comes with it. And if you use that, then it sets you up for having your trigger guard in the right place when you get ready to drive that pin in the back, which is very tedious. And again, we just put it in there tight enough to put enough torque on it to bend the tool a little bit. By God, that should be tight enough. So now we're going to try to drive that pin in again. Now we've got the trigger guard sitting here in place and holding its own. I had to stop for a second to see what is going on here. Okay. And the pin rolled over there. So you look at this pin and you go, no way is that pin going down in that little hole. Well, it does. It really, really and truly does go down in there. But getting it started, that's the trick. And using one of these tools is supposed to work. But your surface has to be rock solid, steady, that you're driving into, or it does not work. Okay, we had to do some cogitating on that pin. It takes a pair of pliers like this holding it in place, but you have to make sure, like I said, that this thing is rock steady, so it's kind of tricky doing it. But once you get the pin in place, then you come back with your tool and you'll watch and you'll see she'll go right on in here, slick, it's all get out. It does take some force to get her down in there. Almost there. Almost there, just a little bit more. And there she is, almost all the way. Now, to finish out driving this pin, you'll look at this and you go, oh, that's not all the way down in there. Well, that tool won't do it. It won't drive it all the way down there, but just so happens there's a company that makes the tool that will do it. And that's these people right here. They're another roll pin tool company. It's a roll pin punch. So what we'll do is we use the 3/32 to drive that in there. So we're going to take another 3/32 out of this thing, and we're going to use that baby to finish driving her all the way in. And as you can see, if you look at the end of this, you'll see that it has a rounded solid end that allows you to put it in the pin right here, ta-da, and drive it in the rest of the way. Carefully, because you don't want to drive it too far and have it come out the other side. You want it just where it's flush. You'll notice on the other side it looks like it didn't even go through, but that's plenty good to know. I can drive it down there just a little bit more, get it down on in there. And there she is. Rock solid installed. So there is your skeletonized Palmetto State Armory trigger guard. Now the next thing I'm going to go ahead and install while we got it up here is the magazine release spring and detent stuff. That is critical, and that's going to use this function right here. Because as you can see, it stands the magazine up. Let me zoom out here. Stands the magazine up in the holder here. And, oops, hold on, my cloth's getting all discombobulated here. And it allows you to drive that pin in, which you cannot see here, but it's your magazine release spring is right there. All that spring and your little spring goes down that hole right there. Your little trip mechanism goes here. Your other springs for your other thing go in here. So we're going to install this magazine release. Now, on this particular one, this magazine release is kind of big, so you need to go ahead and put this piece in first, because this is going to be difficult to get in once you do, because this thing hangs down so far. You'll see here, I'll put it here and here for you. You can see, get it in here. You can see how that kind of hangs down, and it interferes with. It sticks out further than the one, the military one's real flush, and it's real hard to use it because this piece sticking out here is hard to spin it. You'll see when I go to put it in why it's different. Anyway, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and install the release lever. The lever. That's your magazine release lever. The other one's your bolt catch release. See, your bolt catch release is here, like so, and that. So, to get your magazine release lever in there, you got to put this on the last. Put your magazine release in first. And to do that, you have to open up your AR spring kit that I talked about. And when you open up this, be damn careful that this doesn't go flying everywhere, because you've got little tiny springs in here, and you will be crying. Like, oh no, where did that go? Get my tools out here and open her up carefully. so she doesn't fly in a million places. Because they're listening to the voice of experience here with losing springs and going, oh my God, what am I going to do now? And then having to go order springs and wait 2 weeks for them to show up. If you're going to start building, you better have all your stuff together when you get ready to go, because then you're going to be sitting here going, oh God, I forgot this, I forgot that. Make your checklist of everything you need to put the gun together. Because if you don't, you'll end up like some people like me, going, oh crap, I left this out, I left that out. And you get in the excitement of looking over these parts, you're going, oh, you know, I want this, I want that, and you know, you start looking at all the cool stuff, and you tend to overlook all the little bitty tiny things that got to go in this gun. I mean, if one of them fails, you're in big trouble. Anyway, so what we're going to do is open this up very carefully, like so. Get our paper out if we can without blowing things everywhere. Ta-da. So, your bumper your spring is not in here. Uh-oh. Oh Lord, I went through this last time. It doesn't come with the magazine spring in them. Okay, so we're going to have to stop this process right here because we don't have the spring. There's a spring that goes around this shaft right here. And for some reason, like I just said, I forgot to order them. And I'm going to need 3 of them, and I don't have any of them. Zilch. Nada. See that? No spring. There's a spring that goes around that. Big one. Big old spring. Goes around that. It's not in here. Everything else, but not that one. Okay, well, at least not worry about that. Let's go on to something else. We can go on and put the safety selector switch in for sure, and we can put the handle on and get that part done for now, and we'll put in the other stuff as necessary. So let's move on to putting the firing selector switch in. We've got our trigger in. I thought I was going to do those 2 items, but I need that magazine spring, and I've done it again. I ordered the kits without that. Kept thinking, you know, lower spring kit. Well, the lower spring kit, none of them that I have seen comes with this spring for this magazine release lever. None of them come with that spring. Not even this kit. You order Battle Arms, they send you the thing, but none of them come with the springs. You've got to remember to order all your springs separately, because it does not, none of them come with the springs. And it's like, you idiot, what did you do that for? But anyway, that's the name of this game. Let me go through my parts here again and make sure. Now, no lower release spring anywhere in the list of stuff up there. So, this means I have got to go back out to my parts supplier and beg them to send me some more springs, like a handful of them, crying out loud. Anyway, let's move on to the, let's put in the the firing selector and its springs, because we're going to use those little tiny springs for that. Your firing selector goes right here, like so. Of course, you have to release your trigger to make it fit in there. Push that little thing down and get that out of the way. Well, maybe I did that. Oh, there. Oh, there. Oh, no. Well, I made a boo-boo. I do need to have that in there first. You do need to have the firing selector in there first, because on this particular firing selector, it's a fatty. And you got to have her in there first, because it doesn't clear the sear on the trigger. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to remove one of these anti-walk pins, and then I'll let the trigger drop down and give me enough clearance to shove that in there. How about that? This is how you work around problems. That's how you drive the pin out too. If you think you're going to grab that pin and pull that out of there, no, you're not. It's in there very, very tight. Tight to the point that you're going to have to get a pair of pliers and gently pull it out. Like so. And you just heard it drop, heard it click. So now we can put our firing selector in there, maybe. Kind of, sort of. Come on, go in there. Make a liar out of me. That should go in there. It definitely dropped out of place. Huh. Isn't that strange? Okay. Just not enough clearance there to go. Just not enough. Just a little bit more. So we're going to have to undo the other one too. So back up on that, you have to put your firing selector in first with the drop-in trigger, loosely. And then you can put your pins in and drop your trigger in the rest of the way. Because it has to be wobbly in there for this to clear. Let's get that out a little more. There we go. Get that out just a little bit more. Make sure you don't drop your screws. I'm being a bad boy and working over this thing with it over the floor, which you should never do. Because if you drop one of these screws, it's not worth it fighting it. Go around looking for it. There. Now, we're all friends again. There, see now? Got to put your trigger in first. Got to put your firing selector in first. with these drop-in triggers because it's kind of a wobulation thing, and sometimes it'll clear, sometimes it won't. On this particular one, it will not clear. So I had to pull the pins out and reset them back into space. Here I get them lined up again. Like I said, there's one of these manufacturers, a trigger that makes little guide cones for these anti-walk pins. I thought that was really smart that they did that, because somebody had complained about trying to put those anti-walk pins in there, you know, trying to force them through there, and those little cones. I don't know where they are. I've had them around here somewhere. I saved them just for this somewhere, and I don't know where I did it, where I put them, but those should be in my toolkit, you know, these little cones, because it's so cool. I said, oh man, that is really thinking ahead. That was CMMG triggers here in the state of Texas. They had the little cones on them. With the anti-walk pins. The anti-walk pins come with their triggers. Some people will buy them, some people do not. Depend upon the type of, you know, who they are. Man, that is eating my leg up. Oh man, good Lord. Sitting over here being tortured by the, sorry folks, being tortured over here by the tripod, by the camera. It's digging into my leg. You probably saw the camera move just now when I moved it, because it was literally cutting into my leg, because I'm sitting here right next to the tripod. Don't get your wrenches mixed up there, Tommy. Okay, where's the other one? Oh, there it is. That's a different wrench there. Believe it or not, it may look the same, but it ain't. It's a different one. Metric, no less. Everything's gone metric. So if you're not on the metric tool schedule, might as well get on it, because everything is gone metric. All your cars, all your American cars are all metric now. Everything. Transmission, metric. Everything. Metric, metric, metric. Yes, sir? They all gone metric. Okay, where's the other? Alright, what did I just do with that other pin? Oh, there it is. Not watching where I put stuff. Bad habit. There we tap it in with our little rubber hammer there. Hold it in your hand so you don't make a bunch of noise and disturb your neighbors. Anyway, so there's your firing selector installed. Comprendo? There she is. Now what we're going to do next is we're going to put in a little detent for that, which is under here. That's this hole right here, and that's held in place by the handle. So what we do is we go to our spring kit now, our lower spring kit. Put the hammer back, and we find the lower spring kit detent pin, which is weird looking little object. And it is this one right here. Boom. That baby, along with, let's see, which spring is it now? And the spring that goes with it is this puppy right here. Because there's several long springs in here, and there's several really long springs. Those are your springs for your takedown pins. They're really long ones, and the two little tiny pins that go along with it. Those are your takedown pin springs. The spring for this is this puppy right here, right there. And this pin here, just drop it down in there. It's got a bullet shape to it. And when she's in the right spot, she'll just drop right into place. Take this baby. It's kind of tricky. Whoops, see there? You dropped the darn spring. And then drop the darn hand. Now I gotta get out my flashlight because there's no way I'm gonna find that spring without it. Yeah, where did he go? Oh, Jiminy Christmas. Stop recording. Okay, we dropped that spring. This one. This one. And as I said before, if you drop stuff on this floor, forget it. Anyway, this is kind of tough doing this. It's kind of tricky because you have to make sure, like I just did, that things don't fall out as you put them together. Because this handle goes on here like so, and then you've got a pin right here that's trying to fall out at the same time you shove these two pieces together. So what I do is I kind of take them sideways like so, like this, and then get them to fit up in there, get my piece to fit on there, and then shove it on up. And make sure my spring gets in the little hole there. You have to make sure that spring gets right in that hole, like so. You just heard it click in there. And your grip goes up like that, like so. And your little screw. Where's my screw? I got my screw out. Well, Palmetto. Now this one comes with a flathead screw on it. Don't know why, but that's not the screw I use on them. Generally, the screw I use on them is a little bit different. there's a spring right there for the mag release. There's a mag spring right there. I just found it. Some other parts. Look through all your other parts, Tommy. I should have a screw in here, an extra screw for the handle. There it is. This one we're going to use a wire nut safety screw. Oh, and we will reuse the washer off of it. But they put a flathead screw in here. And I don't know why they did that, because typically there are no flathead screws anywhere on an AR-15. None. But this is the same thread, I think. Yeah, they're the same. And we'll get our little that done up there. I think that's the wrench that goes with it. Yep, 7/16. And get our little ratchet attach out here with an extension. Wow, that's the way to lose your parts. Come on. Sometimes it helps to put this thing in the gun before you put them in there. It will help. Let's see if we can do it. Let's see if we can make it fall down in there like it's supposed to. Woohoo! Not hardly. Get a screwdriver. So we're going to use a little tool here to help guide her in place. Don't know why the bolt can't fall the other way, but it won't. There we go. That's what I wanted. Now we can pop it up. Got it right into that hole. Like that. And then you take your ratchet attach it. Stick her on down in there. Let's see what we got here. So there we have it. On, off, on, off, fire. There's your safe, firing position, seen it release. Very, very light release. Now I might have to adjust the take-up on this. There's not supposed to be any take-up on this. There is an adjustment for that. And that's right there. So I might have to adjust the take-up on it. We'll do that at a later date, once I get all the other parts together. But there's your firing selector install. Nice and crisp, very big. Little gold trigger. Now, next, put my tools away, finish up my tightening. I think she's tightened up. Pull my socket out, because that socket fits in there really tight around that bolt head, and it's a 7/16, and I mean, there ain't a whole lot of room down there. I don't know if you can see. There you go. There ain't a whole lot of room down there at all. Let's put tools back. We're done with that. Well, that's about the only time you need a ratchet wrench on an AR-15. Putting the frickin' handle on. The rest of the time, it's driving pins and seating springs and all that kind of stuff. So, okay, we've got the trigger installed. We got the firing selector installed. And now we're going to move on to, I think since I found that spring, we're going to go ahead and move on to our magazine release. And this is the spring I was talking about. And I've got to get some more of them, because, as I said, the spring kits do not come with that spring. I don't know if you can see that monster. Here it is. There it is. That spring right there. They don't come with that spring. You gotta order that special. Anyway, I don't know why. Don't ask me. I don't understand it. Why that does not come with them. Doesn't. Anyway. That spring sits down in this hole right here. Like so. That monster does. And then your other piece is your release mechanism, the extended release. Which is this baby here. My extended release here. Really cool. Really cool extended release. These also come with a skeleton head. One of the other ones I did, the Buccaneer I've done. I call it the Buccaneer. I have another weapon called the Buccaneer I've done. I'm just about ready to put it out for sale. It has the skeleton head on it, which is pretty cool. Where's that? There's the screw. Get all your screws up here. So anyway, this is how this baby goes. This puppy here goes to the other side, like so. And it will screw into this little thing here. So what you do is you take your button, make sure you get your right side for it here, and it screws into that little button right there. So you put your button in this hole here, get your spring in its right place. It does go in a certain place. I need to put that back on there, that's for damn sure. Hold on, folks. Got a slight technical difficulty here. You'll notice also the spring has a little bit of a kind of a taper on it. One end is tapered. That tapered end goes down in this little slot right here. There's kind of a little slot it goes down in. It has to go down in there. And if it doesn't, you are not going to have a good time trying to put that thing in there. Get our pins all tightened up here. In my big rush, I forgot to do one of my last pin here. There. Tight. Now, as I said, I'm still on the camera. Yeah. Let's zoom in a little bit. There is that spring I was talking about. And your magazine release button, because this is going to be an expansive one. It's going to be this puppy right here. And it goes in that hole like that.
Motion at your Ring Video doorbell.
Push it in there like so. Get it in there. Get it lined up. Okay. It's a little bit of a struggle. But if you get that thing over that hole, once you get it in there, boom, like that, and you hold your thumb on it, then you take your other piece, and it just screws in there. If you can get it started. Yeah, really push it down in there with your thumb practically. There we go. Now we got it. And did I get it in there right? Okay, maybe I got it in there backwards. That's probably what I did. Yep, I got it in there backwards. It only goes in one way. Looks that way anyway, because it looks like it's got a bigger opening on one end than the other to kind of feed it in that hole. There we go. There we go. There we go. Now we got it. And you're just going to turn this to where just barely, you're going to have just enough room. And it's kind of a little game you play. We got just enough room. We can just barely clear with your thumb pushed all the way in. You want it to go in there just enough so that you still have a good magazine release when you press on it. Now you see, now I've got the button installed. I didn't show you right now because it's kind of hard to hold it while you're doing it, but you have to put this in. This has to screw in. Let me zoom back out here and I'll show you. Let me get this out of the way. That was bad background. This piece here screws in and out. So if you hold that out with your thumb like this, take your thumb, push all the way down on that button. This piece here screws around like so. It's hard to sit. Let me spin this around. There we go. It's upside down, but there you get the general idea. This piece screws around. Hold it, man, this is, because it's a really tight spring, it really is stiff. So you got to hold it really tight. And there you go. See? There you are. Got just enough room to clear. You press all the way in that. You got just enough room for this piece to clear. Because it screws in to that button right there. And then this button fits over that, like so. And you put these two screws on it, like so. Okay, there is your extended magazine release. And I do mean extended magazine release too, boys and girls. You miss that baby, you got a problem. You miss that puppy. So now we want to check it. All we got to do, get a handy dandy magazine out. Just so happen to have one handy. Your ever popular 20 round magazines. There she is. Press the button, drops right out. So do that again. There you go. Press the button, drops right out. So there's your extended magazine release installed. Next thing we're going to do, we're going to install the bolt catch release and our takedown pins. So we're going to do the bolt catch release next, and then our last thing we're going to do is our takedown pins. And once we do our takedown pins, we will be ready to put an upper on, which is already assembled. Comes I have ordered them pre-assembled. So we're almost there, folks. We're almost on our way. We're just a few steps away from a shooting AR-15. You believe that? You wouldn't believe it, would you? You'd think, oh, this is a lot of trouble. No, it's not. But here we go. Let's take a break. Cut. Comment, like, and subscribe. And hit that bell for notifications. Thank you for watching.